Hey, hello guys, welcome back on my YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about transpilation part of Typescript. As you know that Typescript is a superset of JavaScript and ECMAScript, and browsers don't understand Typescript, right? So Typescript has to be transpiled into something that browsers understand. It could be vanilla JavaScript or ECMAScript, which is nothing but the standard version of JavaScript. So let's see how can we do that. And let me open up my terminal. I'm going to create a directory and I'm going to call it Typescript -dev. Okay, now we have the directory. Let me jump right onto it. I'm going inside the directory with the help of cd. Cd stands for chain directory. This is obviously a blank because we just created this. So I'm gonna do npm, that stands for node package manager, and I'm going to initialize a node application with the help of init command, and I am passing a hyphen or -y command. This is going to generate a package.json file within this Typescript -dev directory. If I do not pass the -v, that's going to ask me a couple of questions. So I'm just saying that please accept yes to all the default values you have. Now we have package.json file generated. I can use cat command to see its contents if I want to, but that is redundant. So first thing first, let me install a Typescript language itself, right? So I'm gonna say npm install, or I for short, and I'm going to install Typescript, the latest version of Typescript. And while doing so, I'm also passing -d as an additional flag, which means please install Typescript from npm repository as a dev dependency. So there are dependencies and there are dev dependencies. The dev dependencies are only for developing your applications, and when you have compiled and built your application, then you do not need Typescript, right? So you need Typescript only for building the application during development. Let me go ahead and open this project. Visual Studio Code is a very good IDE. It has built-in support for Typescript, right? So I have this dev dependency. I'm using the Typescript 4 as the version, and here we have scripts. I can start using the scripts. So we will be using scripts command and we will be adding. So let's understand how can we run these scripts from terminal, right? So to be able to run the scripts, you have to type npm then the run, and make sure that we are inside the Typescript -dev, and let me list the contents. So we have the package.json file right into this folder. So I can type npm then run and then the name of the command. So it is test. Okay, so it's saying that Typescript dev, which is the name of the application. So here at the top at line number 2, I have just highlighted this, and the version is 1.1, and the command that I want to execute is test, right? I can change this the version of this application to be 1.3.2, and if I run again, you will see that it is executing with the latest version, right? So it's picking up the name and the version from the package.json. Okay, cool. We do not need this test. What we need is a build command, right? So what gonna do is that it's going to run a tsc Typescript compiler. We have just installed Typescript, so it has tsc Typescript compiler, and we're going to create a file called tsdemo.ts, right? So extension is Typescript, and let me quickly go ahead and create a file. So I'm going to touch a file. It's called demo.ts. I have a Typescript file generated. Let me open this up. Let me add some real Typescript into this, right? I'm going to create a class, because Typescripts have classes. let's call it TS demo, and inside this class I'm going to have a private and read-only variable underscore name, because by convention I'm using underscore. I don't need to use underscore. It's private, so I'm using underscore. Otherwise you can omit this, but let's go with this. And I'm specifying the type. The type going to be is string, and this is what TypeScript is known for, right? And by the way, read-only is TypeScript a specific thing. It doesn't exist in ECMAScript. So if you want to define, so it says, okay, welcome to the amazing TypeScript. So we have this variable defined property of this class underscore name. Let me also define a getter. Getter is the way to access the private property. Name going to be, the name of the method is name. It's public, it's always public, and it's returning this dot underscore name. So we have a couple of things here. We have defined a private constant property. We have a method, we have a getter method, okay, which is returning a string. We have specified it here. So let's create an instance. I'm going to use const. Let's say TS demo, and I'm going to say new TS demo, right? Even if I omit the parentheses, I think this should work, but let's not. Let's use parentheses. Okay, it's unknown word. I don't care. I can quickly fix it. I can add it to my workspace settings. So here we it has created a .vs code. If I go there, so there is a spell check, and it has added this word. It's the TypeScript, not TypeScript, but the Visual Studio Code is no longer crying. We have created TS demo, and we should be able to access we can't access the underscore name because private is not accessible outside the TS demo class we have just created, but we can use the name method, right, which is accessible. It's public. I can use console.log, and TS demo is the object. I have just instantiated this, and it has a method name called name, and I don't need to use parentheses because this is it's weird. I can use this name method as if it is the property, and the setters work the same way. If I had defined a setter, then I can say set some value with the help of equal to sign. But anyway, let's not get into that. So I have this object created of this class, and I'm accessing this name method, not the property. Remember, property is underscore name, and name is the method. This is all in TypeScript, and now I want to run this, right? Let me clear the console. One way of doing it, first of all, I'll have to transpile it into JavaScript. Then only I can execute this. So I'm going to say npx tsc, the TypeScript compiler. So npx, it's not npm, it's npx. This is a command, it's a tool that comes with some, I think, latest version of Node. If you are running latest version of Node, then you should have it installed already. You don't need to worry about having to install manually. You should have it already. What it does, it basically going to look for TSC, TypeScript compiler, within the Node module, right? If the TSC does not exist within the Node module, then it's going to download the TSC compiler on demand. So the file that I want to transpile is tsdemo.ts. So it will generate a tsdemo.js file. I know it's giving me this error, but I did this on purpose. So here we have tsdemo.js file, and see, TypeScript compiler has transpiled the .ts file into .js. This is a vanilla JavaScript, right? We don't have classes in JavaScript, right? So we are using class, private, read only. These all are syntactical sugar. that Typescript has provided. Even ECMAScript, which is a native implementation of standard JavaScript, does not have classes. Still, JavaScript is using prototype-based inheritance, and we have a class. We defining a property called name. So we are using object.defined property, and this defined property has a way of defining a getter. It's a part of vanilla JavaScript, and I'm using basically I'm creating instances of this function, right? So some memory allocation will take place, and this will be returned, and so on and so forth. So we have this object, and this object has .name property, right? And now I can run this. So I can say node ts node, oops, it's not node, it's demo. Okay, ts demo.js. It's saying welcome to amazing Typescript. So we have transpiled a .ts file into .js file, and we are able to run that, right? Okay, let me remove this .ts demo file. I don't need this. Let us go one step further. Let me also clear up my console. So the problem is that first I need to transpile it to be able to use it, right? To be able to run this. But there is a solution to this. I have a, let me add a dev command that's going to transpile and run the script. Okay. So for this I have to use ts node. We have not installed ts node yet. What ts node would do, it will transpile in memory and execute the source code, right? And the file that I want to execute is demo.ts, right? So let me go ahead and let me quickly install ts node. Again, this is going to be a dev dependency. I don't need this to be in the proper dependency section. We have ts node install, and now I can directly execute my Typescript file. So I can type npm, then run under dev, right? Whew, it worked, right? It is using ts node and then space the name of the file. We got the output from .ts file, right? And we can watch it. We can do tons of options. Okay, there's one more thing I think that is worth mentioning. Like if you are quite interested in Typescript, and if you want to use Typescript for your project, then there is a file that you can configure the behavior of Typescript, like how it will be compiled, the target. And there are tons of other options. We would not go into deep. It is absolutely necessary for any Typescript developer to know that about that tsconfig.json file. So before that, we had a problem, right? I mean, I ran this command npm run build. We were able to create a .js file, but it is flagging some error, right? It's flagging about the target. So by default, right, Typescript is transpiling my coding to vanilla JavaScript. It has no accessors, like we use the get keyword, right? So it has no setter and getters, right? It is warning us. So let's solve this problem. And I would also like to know, like, what is the eject config that the Typescript compiler is transpiling my file, right? So I can say Typescript compiler and then show config, right? This is not going to work either. So if I type npm config, it's going to flag. It says that can't find tsconfig JSON file in the current directory, which is valid point. So let's create tsconfig.json file, and then I would like to know, like, when Typescript is transpiling my file, what is the exact configuration it is using? The target, is it transpiling the code in strict mode, and so on and so forth. So let's do that. This is quite amazing to work with tsconfig file. So type npx again, use tsc. So when I say npx tsc, that means I'm using Typescript compiler, which is inside the node module. I don't need to install Typescript compiler globally. I don't have it installed. I have only one version of Typescript compiler, which is inside this project. npx is the way of accessing the modules installed within node modules directory, right? Command is init. I think it's a hyphen init if I'm not wrong. Oh yeah. So it has just created a tsconfig.json file with these default options, right? This time Typescript is the standard version of JavaScript. It's ECMAScript. And it is transpiling it in strict mode and so on and so forth, right? And module is command.js. So now let's type this thing, npm run config, right? It has given me the config. So if I transpile any Typescript file now, I know that this is the configuration which is being used, and this is going to execute, right? Transpile this file. It has read this, it has scanned .ts file. Let me change a few things in the tsconfig before we start utilizing it. Let me open this up first. I wanna, so it has target is ES 2016. We have no problem with this. I wanna tell that, okay, where is my root directory, where is my actual code, right? I would say it's inside the src folder, okay? And I also want to instruct Typescript that, okay, once you have compiled everything, please put the compiled version in a certain folder, right, within the project. So there is a out directory, yeah, out there. It stands for output, and I want my output to be inside the build folder. There are a couple of other options that I want to enable. That is the source map. So source map is extremely helpful when you want to debug your Typescript file. Okay, that is all the change I want to make now. So if I type npm run config, you will see it has changed, right? Now it knows what is my root directory. It knows that the source map is enabled. It also knows that where it's going to transpile and put the transpiled version of my file. It also knows that it's going to exclude the build because the build folder going to have the compiled version, right? So let me go ahead and create a src folder, and I'm going to put my .ts file inside the folder again, and I don't need .js file, so I'm going to remove it. Let me go back to package.json, and here you see that earlier we had to specify the file that we wanted to transpile, but in a larger scale project there are going to be hundreds of such ts files, right? Yeah, you can specify more than one file, like you can read the documentation for more details. There are plenty of other options you can do this way, but it's not efficient, right? Now I have tsconfig file. It knows what is the root directory. It's src, and it knows that where it's going to transpile. So let me do one thing. Let me say npm run and build. Now it's going to create a build folder. If you go inside it, there is a map file because we have enabled the source map. There is a ts demo, and you might have noticed that this time around the .js file is bit smaller than the vanilla JavaScript, right? Because now, and also it is not complaining about the getter, right? This is how we do getters, and this is this is the constructor. So this version basically is ECMAScript. We have a class keyword in ECMAScript. It works. It is compiling it or transpiling it in a strict mode. That's the source the source map. And yeah, so now it has compiled or transpiled it into ECMAScript 16 because we have asked the Typescript to do so, right? And there are plenty of other options available. For this, I think this is enough. You know that how can you transpile and run your .ts file, and you know that how can you build them. You know that how you can have dtsconfig file, and you know exactly that what is the configuration which is used to transpile. Yeah, so I think this is all for today. I hope that it was helpful. If you want to see more videos like this, please don't forget to subscribe. I see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching.